So we turn to our fourth great global persecution, the Christian persecution. I do wish this wasn't one that we had to speak of at all, where Christians persecute other Christians. Of course, this had been going on before. It's always happened in the history of the church. But we're dating this particular global persecution from 1517, when Martin Luther unwittingly kicks off the Protestant Reformation, and up until about 1648, when the Peace of Westphalia brings to an end the last war of religion, the so-called 30 Years' War. And that's the worst war of religion in Europe at that time. It's all to do with the fact that churches disagree, but this is an era where disagreement over doctrine was a life and death matter. Dissent was regarded as heresy, and heresy very often was regarded as punishable by death. So the key word or tactic that we're talking about is ritual. Remember, we have been characterizing a tactical area around which persecution has centered for each global persecution. The Roman persecution was the tactic of creating apostates rather than martyrs. The Islamic persecution by the use of taxation and other laws to create a dhimmitude status. The Mongol persecution by the use of limitless violence, leading to the near extinction of the Asian church. Here, however, persecution centers around the meaning of rituals. Christians disagree with Christians on the meaning, significance, and practice of the rituals of the church, over baptism and the Lord's Supper in particular. With baptism, when should it occur? What does it mean? Does it confer salvation? Should it be carried out just for infants? Or is it a choice by a responsible Christian in adulthood? So for some 150 years, Christians persecuted Christians mainly around the meaning of the sacraments. As we said, we can probably date this Christian persecution to the rise of the Reformation. And this is when, in Christianity, two families of faith become four. Scott Sundquist, who we've been quoting a lot, characterizes this very well. He says, before there were two, the Orthodox or Eastern version of Christianity and the Catholic or Western version of Christianity. But then after 1517, two more are added. And in Scott Sundquist's terms, he calls them the Protestant and the spiritual families of faith. Because he says there are always two options when it comes to change. One group will always adapt the existing structure, so the Lutherans and the Anglicans basically adapt the Catholic liturgy, but the other replaces it entirely. So you get the Anabaptists, for example, who want a complete break with the institutional form of the faith. These two terms are often referred to as the magisterial Reformation and the radical Reformation. So of these four families, it's the radical or spiritual that became the second largest numerically today. The Catholics remain the largest bloc, but the spiritual branch, thanks to the huge rise of Pentecostalism and the charismatic traditions in the 20th century, is maybe around 500 million today, dwarfing the more traditional Protestant churches.